So everyone, we're joined by a very special guest, and it's none other than former reggae boy himself, Altimont, Freddie Butler. Freddie, how are you doing? How are things? What's new?
Yeah, everything's good enough. Can't complain. Still alive. Bright, sunny day in Florida, so we can live with that.
Yeah, great to have you on board, man. I appreciate it. What I want to do is talk a little bit about the career that you had as a player and now in the coaching aspect of things. So let's start where it all began for you. Do you remember the first time you played football in your community with your friends? Was it at school? Remember those early days growing up?
To be exact, I wouldn't be able to tell you that because it's a long time ago. But I grew up in Port Royal, so I'm originally from Port Royal, so that's where it's all started. Went to Port Royal All Age School, so could have started there, could have started inside the community. Um, but that's where it started. Growing up in Port Royal, my dad played, all my uncles, cousins, everybody played football at the time. So just as a pastime in the community was to go out and play football. So that's where the love of football began.
And from that experience being in Port Royal, how were you discovered to go and play, at the noon and, further progress the career that you had?
In Port Royal, we played like we had like some mini leagues that we play in Port Royal, like under 12 and under 16. But Port Royal is a very small community, so it's just only like 4 or 5 teams. Um, growing up and playing, so I was playing there. Port Royal had won the minor league in 1978, I believe. Yeah, we had won because we had a lot of other quality footballers in Port Royal. So we had won the minor league in like 1978 or 74, 74. Not quite sure, but growing up watching the minor league and watching everybody play, so that kind of inspired us to play football because Port Royal had won minor league sometime in the 1970s. So again, we kind of aspired to play minor league for Port Royal. So growing up at some point in the early 80s, we had a suspension. Using an overage player. So I wasn't able to play until after the suspension. But funny enough, when I was ready to play or, having the opportunity to train and play, then I think we had the polomyelitis, and didn't play any football league in Jamaica that time. So we had to wait the next year, which then we had to play the President Cup. So we had to play a President Cup to qualify back to play in the minor league, which was in 1984. So I played for Port Royal then, and we won the President Cup and qualified back to enter the minor league the following year. So the following year I played for Port Royal again, which I should have, could have, would have played for Harborview because Harborview had a quality team playing in the minor league. So I opted to stay and play for Port Royal because birthplace and kind of a little hero growing up in the community. So you wouldn't even think about leaving Port Royal to go and play for another club. So I
Okay.
played in the minor league, went to the semi-final of the minor league again. That was 1985. But the year before, I started playing, I was playing men's football at the time, since before even playing schoolboy football. Port Royal was playing like Major League and City Barclay. So I was already playing men's football from 14, 15 before playing schoolboy football. Then I went on to Dunoon, played in the Manning Cup in 1984 while still playing for Port Royal, and played like 3 years of Manning Cup for Dunoon Technical. And then
I think you're muted, Freddie, so you can unmute.
I moved to Harborview and started playing in the Premier League, Major League again, and Premier League for Harborview. Schoolboy football. Schoolboy football. was a part of the all man in all schools, Jamaica youth team, you know, and all the all-star teams that a youth can play for. You know, and then playing in the Premier League at a tender age again, and I got called up to the senior national team as a 17-year-old, still playing in high school and playing Premier League. So when I went to the senior national team, you have people like Owie Bell, Richie Murray, Anthony Corbett, Andrew Hines, Dave Brooks, Michael Tolo, you name them, all big name, Paula Wilson, all big name players, and it was kind of fascinating to be there. You know, people like Joe Downer from Boys Town was there. Yeah, Dion Messi Wilmot. You know, so it was kind of eye opener and fascinating to be there as a 17-year-old amongst these guys. Yeah. Then Winston Chungfa was the coach with Moti Scott. You know, so you know, enough respect and shout out to Moti Scott who gave me my debut as a 17-year-old. And I scored in my second game for the senior national team as a schoolboy against the Cayman Islands. So enough respect to Moti Scott to put me, you know, ahead of a lot of top quality players at the time.
Yeah, quite a journey, you know, and for you to, as a teenager, break into the senior team, absolutely fantastic. I mean, Freddie, for many people, of course, know you as a midfielder, but growing up and even in that stage, did you play other positions as well, attack or even in defense? Did you...
A lot of times, you know, Simon, I would, you know, I know today they call it a false nine kind of thing. So I played in behind. Sometimes, a lot of times, I play striker, and a lot of people don't even know that. They would think that I'm still a midfielder. Because like even in playing for Donovan, most times I'm listed as a midfielder, but a lot of times it's myself and Donovan Sinclair are the two strikers. Because back then we play like with four midfielders. We had Cassius Henry, Dean Lothian, and Norris Kitson, and I'm there in midfield. So a lot of times I'm a little bit way up the field as a midfielder. But you know, I had the license to drop back in midfield, but you know, when we have total possession, I usually go up. So if most people can recall, for like 3 consecutive years, I was like second leading goal scorer in Manning Cup. And most times you can't just do that from midfield. You have to be up top, closer to the goal, right? So a lot of times I played striker, I play up top.
Something that fascinated me growing up, you know, looking at the stats and the history that you took in your career path is going from Harborview, of course, to go play overseas in Guadeloupe. How did that opportunity come around? Because when you think about Guadeloupe, more so the eyes would be on the French talent, but eyes are on Jamaican talent. So for me, that caught my eye quite a bit.
Yeah, that came about. I played in the club championship, the CONCACAF club championship for Harborview. And we had drawn L'Etoile de Mornalou from Guadeloupe. So we went to Guadeloupe, still a schoolboy, played, had an outstanding game. And when they came back to Jamaica, I had an outstanding game again. And you know, they were very impressed, and they were talking about having me over to Guadeloupe. You know, at the time I took it for nothing. It was a bit of excitement, but a little bit of nothing. And I graduated school in July of 1987, and like first week of August in they knew that I was still in school, so they knew that I graduated school in July. I think early July or July 14th or wherever I graduated school. Then they knew that, so in August, first week of August, they just came to Jamaica and they snapped me up. So that's when I became the first player in the history of Jamaica to get a contract straight out of high school. So I ended up in Guadeloupe for a while. Played in Guadeloupe for a while. I started playing, and you know, they saw me again and think that wait, this talent is way ahead of the Guadeloupean League, and then from there I ended up in France. So the thing about that, like back in you're talking about 1987, even the media, it wasn't as connected, like work that you guys are doing, it's amazing because people have the information, and today for guys who even play in Slovenia or Slovakia. But when I went to Guadeloupe and play, there was no media, no nothing. I was like lost in the system. So playing in Guadeloupe and in France, and nobody in Jamaica know the history. Maybe it's just last week people start doing research and see that wait, we had somebody playing there in the 80s. So not having the media, we're not connected as we are today. Via internet. Most people in Jamaica didn't even know that journey that we had a Jamaican playing in League One in the 80s. It's fascinating for people who understand and do the research and know now that we had a kid from Jamaica playing at that level.
It's remarkable, isn't it, Freddie? Because you played Liga, the first Jamaican to play in Liga. That same club is still in Liga today. Many people thought it would have been Keith Kelly, but yourself, we give credit to those Jamaicans that are in Europe right now. But it's just amazing to have that piece of history, to your name, and like opening the paveway for now more Jamaicans that are coming slowly but surely into the European continent.
Yeah. It was also even fascinating for Keith Kelly to be another player from a small town of Port Royal to head over to France at PSG. So obviously we have quality footballers in Port Royal, and again, no, look at Dujan Whisper. He's another Port Royal kid. So obviously, quality players are coming out of Port Royal that we kind of slide under the radar kind of thing. But like I say, in those days, we didn't have the media coverage. I've met people, for example, like Kevin Cohen, who is currently an agent and doing great work in football for local players. When he first met me in person and did the research, and I was in Norway at the time, Kevin's like, I have to meet you because nobody talk about you. All we hear is about Walter Boyd, Whitmore, Nandilo. It's like, what? So when some younger people do the research and thinking like, wait a second, these guys play in Europe at that time when Jamaican was only known for Bob Marley and weed. So when they do the research and realize that we have somebody who had played at this level in those days, it's really remarkable.
Most definitely. And when you think about the international career, you had almost 70 caps, 12 goals to your name. You spoke about Chongfa giving you the opportunity. What was it like, the communications you had with Simoes as well, the relationship you guys had on and off the field as well, learning from him as well as a
Yeah,
coach?
with Rene also, when Rene had discovered, I was playing in Portugal at the time, and Rene had discovered that a Jamaican was out there playing that kind of level, so he brought me into the national team. And most of the players could tell you, if I wasn't there, it would be tough for Rene because I was the one who had to translate for Rene for most part. Because Rene speak very little English at the time. Montesa spoke very little English. So I was the one who had to be the translator most of the time to get his points across. So it was very important for me to be in the team there with them. When we traveled to Brazil, we didn't have the luxury to take a translator. So luckily I was there to, translate everything and navigate the team with Rennie and everybody through everything. So that was another journey to be a part of that in the start of that to help out with the translation for Rennie Simoes.
And it's amazing how you were able to broaden your horizons as well, Freddie, because you speak English, French, Portuguese, and just up to the Gold Cup
Because it's a
recently.
Norwegian.
and Norwegian. And even at the Gold Cup, you know, recently we're speaking French to persons in the hotel lobby. So it just goes to show, you know, the doors that can be opened through football, you know.
Yeah, I have to give thanks for football because with football I speak several different languages and get to travel the world. And I've been to 56 different countries for football. It's like, I would never give up anything for that, So to be a part of that, we also have to mention that when the MLS started, I was the first Jamaican to be drafted in the MLS, the first Jamaican to score into the MLS. So there's a lot of history and a lot of first to the name in terms of football. But again, Jamaican people didn't have the luxury to be connected via the internet, so most people wouldn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely right. And for the benefit of the viewers as well, this was 1996. The franchise at the time was San Jose Clash, now called San Jose Earthquake. So yes, you're right, quite a trendsetter. First Jamaican in Ligue, first Jamaican out of high school to sign overseas, first Jamaican to score in the Major League Soccer as well. So fantastic. Freddie, I know
And
it's
playing Portugal, you
and the
can't
first
let
Jamaican to play in Portugal as well. Yes. Yes, the Portuguese just before he went to France as well, the Liga in France. So first Jamaican in Guadeloupe as well. So quite a trendsetter, I must say. So Freddie, I know it's always a privilege and an honor when you have on the shirt and you're wearing the colors and representing your country, playing and also coaching wise. So for you, what was the experience like recently at the Gold Cup, being one of the former players in camp and being able to mentor a couple of the guys, the entire squad, really?
it was great. It was an awesome time to be there, and I have to give big shout out and respect to the coaching staff to think or come up with something like this, to have a past player to be an ambassador with the team and traveling with the team, and it was great just to be there. It was quite an honor to be there. And I think we should do a lot more of this. It don't necessarily have to be me. It can be a lot more players, and it doesn't necessarily have to be one player. We can have 3, 4 past players in and around the team for Nation Cup World Cup qualifiers, the next World Cup, the Colombo, everything. I think it's a great thing to have past players around the team because the past players know the history and know what it takes and how things are being done when you're in a Gold Cup or a World Cup qualifier. So even just to sit there and have conversations with the players and sit in a meeting, and the coach is a very inclusive coach. So I'm sure you'll find things for them to do and things for them to say. So it would be awesome that moving forward, if we can get more national team players to be a part to play that role with the national team.
Most definitely. And for you, quite recently in Florida, we had the national under 14 trials. What was the experience like generally working with the next generation of players? What were their talent like, the energy levels, everything about that group?
That past camp with the U14, the level of players that we have, the level of kids were fascinating because we had good quality players and the U14s, US based players, and the camp was here in Florida, and a lot of players were left out because again we can only invite 26 players to a camp. So we're hoping to do it, in other states as we move. But the experience working with these kids, it was so good that we have to do another one like within a month. To be honest with you, because like you want to see them again and again and again because the quality of the players, it's as Jamaican we have some of the best athletes at that age.
Wonderful. And I'm sure in due course, once you finalize the dates, times, location, you let us know the future camps that are in the States and wherever at that age group level in due course, you'll get those dates for us.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get all the information. But for now, the next U14, we're looking at September 23rd here in Florida. I know some people in the States would think that why Florida? Why Florida? Florida is very convenient because the weather, number one, and the up from traveling from Jamaica to here. So if we have representative coming from Jamaica, it's a quicker flight, it's an easier flight, and then everybody's inside here. And like on December 15th, we can do a camp in Florida. In January 27th or February 15th, we can do a camp in Florida. It's difficult to do a camp in Colorado or Boston, New York, New Jersey. So that's one of the reasons. But we have past players who are located in other states, so we're looking to sort things out with them so we can have camps in other states as we go.
That's great news, Freddie. I appreciate your time, one step at a time, as you said, in relation to the different states being involved. Because as you know, the Jamaican diaspora is huge, in different states across the country. So we appreciate your time. Thank you for the great work you've been doing. Keep up the hard work. And we will certainly be in touch, and we will have you more on to give us updates with everything. And we'll link up face to face.
Yeah, man, it's a joy. It's a pleasure for having me, and whenever you're in Florida, if possible, if you can come to the next camp, that would be great. We'd love to have you